Is Data in Star Trek really a nefarious mastermind who is secretly lying about his own knowledge about the human condition in order to gain power and take over the universe? We'll find out right here. Hey everybody, I am Taylor from Beard vs. Geek, where I show you it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. If you want more manliness or geekiness in your life, make sure to subscribe or go to beardvsgeek.com for some awesome articles and a weekly podcast about a bunch of things man and geek. Now today, since we're talking about Star Trek and Mr. Data, this is a perfect opportunity to give a little bit of a shout out to Gary over at Trekkerprise. If you want to keep up to date on Star Trek Discovery news and find out more about the animated series and a bunch of other things, go ahead and go over to Trekkerprise. Gary is an awesome guy. He's also the one who updated all of the art on Beard vs. Geek channel, including the banner, the logo, the watermark, a bunch of other things. So Gary, thank you so much. You're awesome, man. Now, we are talking about Star Trek. Now, I have been searching the web and I stumbled across this theory that stated that Mr. Data was secretly hiding how much emotions he really had and his true ambition and his true intelligence about human idiosyncrasies in order so that he could slowly gain power and control, if not the entire Federation, the universe. I thought this was rather interesting. So I went through and I did a little bit of digging and I watched a whole bunch of Star Trek to try to find any evidence that could sustain this theory and to see if Mr. Data really has been lying to us. Now first we need to talk about Data, like who he is. So Data is a positronic android and he is capable of assimilating a boatload of information about anything in seconds. For example, this. So, during all of his research and his 30 plus years of trying to become more human, how is it that he is still like this?
Fun.
Fun.
I do not understand.
So, during this time period, while he is researching how to be human, while he is assimilating all of this data, he is bound to come across some simple human idiosyncrasies, and if not that, some acting books about how to be more human, how to project emotion. Well, I submit to you that he did. You see, there's a field of science called anthropology, which is the study of humans. That's a field of research that I am currently studying right now. And in that, anthropologists mark down everything. We record fracking everything. Well, it would make sense that Data studied anthropology and assimilated a bunch of information about human culture, human behavior, human idiosyncrasies, all sorts of different things. This is evident by a bunch of different things, including how he was trying to learn how to sneeze, because obviously he has seen this in other people sneezing, and he has researched how to sneeze, the common facial expressions, that kind of thing, and he is trying to mimic that. Now, that is in Season 1. That is just a little peek at what he allowed Wesley to observe of his behavior. Now, I would also submit to you that Data actually has emotions programmed into his brain from the get-go. I know you're probably saying, Taylor, there's the emotional chip. He did not have emotions before the emotional chip. Well, you're wrong. First off, several times before he had the emotional chip, he actually emoted a lot. He said that he was pleased a lot. Okay, pleasure is an emotion. Even though he does not outwardly look like it, internally he probably is. When he is visiting Dr. Soon, after he accidentally put the emotion chip in Lore instead of Data, Data said, "I cannot grieve for your death." And Dr. Soon said, quote, "You will in your own way." Now, since Dr. Soon created Data, it stands to reason that he has a pretty damn good idea about Data's programming. And since Data and Lore are virtually identical except from a little programming, most likely Dr. Soon made Data so that he could not really emote outwards, but he still actually had emotions. See, the flaw with Lore, Data's predecessor, Lore was too outward emotional that the villagers were actually afraid of him. And so they encouraged Dr. Soon to take apart Lore and create an android that did not show so many outward emotions. And that's what Soon did. So why would he make an emotional chip? Well, this is very simple. There were no more villagers. Data has slightly different programming. He did have emotions, but not able to outwardly show them. So he created that chip specifically for Data to show his emotions outwardly and have the right amount of balance to also connect with his ethical subroutine. Now, later on in the episodes of Descent Part 1 and Part 2 and Season 6 and Season 7, we see what Data is capable of and how he truly feels when his ethical subroutines are turned off. When he feels that hatred and that anger towards his shipmates, well, that's coming from somewhere. That didn't just pop out of the blue. Apparently, he's been feeling like this for a long time, but now he was able to outwardly show it and express it. Now, it was only after meeting Lore several times and seeing how outward emotions and outward ambitions could turn humans into wanting to hate you and wanting to deactivate you. Okay, that proved to Data, who is constantly learning and evolving as an individual, that showing outward ambition is a surefire way to never get any real power or to get any real place at all. Now, during those episodes, there was a time when Lore turned down Data's outward emotions by remote control, basically. And how did Data react? He basically went through withdrawals. Therefore, he is addicted to outward emotion. He wants to have more outward emotion. He doesn't just want to be bottled up in his head all the damn time. He wants to be able to show his emotions like other people. Took the chip from Lore and put it in a little box and threatened to destroy it in front of Geordi. I submit to you that the chip was working and that it was not in the box that Data was threatening to destroy in front of Geordi. Most likely, Data was fixing the chip and put it in his brain far before Generations and this weird ass chip. Because this chip and this chip do not look alike. Most likely it was a ruse for Geordi's benefit and for the entire cruise. We're at this point where Data is ready to show outward emotion more. Knowing what outward emotions can do, he really restrained himself and basically play acted to not show outward emotion. Now we know that human creatures and other beings can do this. Say the Vulcans, for example, they suppress their emotions to try to show as little emotion as possible, but yet the emotions are still there and they still present their emotions every now and then by saying how they're pleased or they crack a smile every now and then. Well, Data has done the exact same thing throughout the entire series, and he does it more and more, especially in Season 7. Therefore showing that his emotional subroutines in his head are becoming more powerful, and that after he got exposure to that chip and put that chip inside of his brain, that he would be more inclined to show outward emotion, but he would still try to restrain himself because he saw what happened to Lore. In the end, Data learned that outward ambition only breeds distrust, suspicion, and hostility from humanoids. Therefore, Data would be more inclined to continue up the ranks of Starfleet, gaining more power along the way, gaining more ambition along the way, and gaining more control of his emotions along the way. To what end? We don't know. It could be that he wants power, it could be that he wants ambition, but we don't really know what the end purpose was. My theory is that it was purely out of self-preservation. After seeing what happened to Lore especially, and how outward emotion breeds that hostility, Data wanted to make sure that he was safe, that he was protected. And so he only let it out bit at a time, and he slowly progressed his understanding and emotions to the other people. He really knew more than what he was letting on. So what do you think about this theory? Let me know in the comments down below. Also let me know what is the craziest Star Trek theory you have ever heard of, also in the comments down below. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Great videos like this are coming out every Wednesday and Sunday, where I show you it's okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. In fact, if you want more manliness or geekiness, check out beardvsgeek.com for some awesome articles and a weekly podcast, or click on one of these two videos if you want more awesome Star Trek action. Remember to check out Trekkerprise.com and Trekkerprise on YouTube, link in the description down below. Because after all, if the women don't find you manly, they should at least find you geeky. And until next time, don't go shaving on me.